Hey, what is going on, everybody? Hopefully, you're having a good day so far. It is Friday, so it's another episode of Millennial with Billy and Mel. What is going on, guys? Hopefully, like I said, you're having a good Friday. And we have a special episode for you today because we have a special guest. So it's always a special episode when you have a special guest, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. So we're gonna talk to our guest here today. We're gonna introduce her here in a second. It's our good friend Carley Furlow. She's a business owner. She's an inventor, and she's a Gen Zer. So we're not going to hold that against her. You know,
she can still yell with us.
She can still yell with us because, like I said, she's not like all the other ones out there, right? She's doing some stuff. She's got some businesses, and she's super connected. So, and we were really interested to have a conversation with her and just learn more about what she's doing, that you can learn a little bit more about what she's doing. But before we bring her on, Mel, how are you doing? How's your week been?
This week is good. I'm glad that it's Friday. I have almost zero plans this weekend. The last couple of weekends, I had way too much that I was doing. So I'm glad to get some stuff done around the house and just get caught up on some stuff, but busy week. And I got a new intern for my two businesses. So he'll be starting in a couple of weeks, and he's awesome. I'm really excited to see what we can do together for some on the like some video and media, digital marketing. So I'm excited. What about you?
I mean, just a kind of an easy week for me. Not a whole lot to report. Just kind of doing some stuff around the house this weekend and stuff like that. Our neighbor's pool just got redone, so we're gonna go probably enjoy that this weekend and have a good time. So. But nothing crazy, nothing crazy. But without further ado, right, we definitely want to bring on this guest, and I think it's going to be a really interesting conversation, have some good content coming your way. So if you're in the comment section, make sure you let us know where you're coming in from. We'd love to give you a shout out. But without further ado, it's our friend, our fellow business connection, Carley. I'm about to bring you on. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. It's really awesome to have you on. I know, we met through, I think it was a Central PA group, and then Mel and I got to go to your product release. Your big event,
launch party.
So your launch party. That's what I was looking for. That's why Mel's on the other side of the show, because she helps me when I forget things. But we're super stoked to have you on the podcast. So I think it's going to be a really fun conversation. So, But anyways, go ahead, Mel.
I was going to say that we met at a Hill Society networking event, and Carley was there. I was there, and we started chatting, and she actually recognized me. She recognized me from you, the Central PA Sports Small Business Group with the podcast. And that was just really cool because it's always nice when there's people out there that know of the podcast. We obviously were trying to get more followers and promote it. And that was just really neat that she had known about it and had already talked to you. And we kind of had that connection between all of us. We met at different times almost. And then obviously you had been invited to her launch party. And I know our friend Chad that was invited that was going. So I went, and I found out that you were going, and it was something that she was like a connector between like different people that we knew. That was really neat, bringing us together with different other people in different ways. So that was really neat.
Yeah, it was definitely a cool kind of connection. And but let's get right into it. So we're gonna ask you, like I said before we jumped on here, we're gonna ask you some tough questions today.
No.
Yeah.
Joking.
Don't make her nervous.
Joking. But just like I said, tell us a little bit about yourself. Obviously, I think it's important people know how old you are because of what you've accomplished thus far in your life. It's probably a lot of things that people that have lived way longer than you have not even accomplished half of what you accomplished.
Yeah, and I thought you were older.
Yeah, I remember that.
I thought we were having drinks at the Hills. We weren't. She wasn't, but yeah.
So I'm Carley, as I already said. I'm 19, and I am going to be a sophomore at Penn State. I graduated in the middle of the pandemic, so we didn't have graduation, we didn't have prom, we really didn't have anything. So while everyone else was watching Netflix and Hulu and whatever they were doing, I was trying to see what I could do to help others. It started during the pandemic. I made masks, and that's another way I kind of like knew Melissa. I would try and whatever masks I had left over would donate to the mask.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah.
So I know I definitely did over 2,000 by the end for myself. And then during that time, I was watching a lot of Shark Tank and stuff while I was sewing. And I was sitting there the one night, and I was like, Dad, I have this really cool idea for a product. And he's like, well, what is it? And I was like, imagine if, like, all these hand injuries I've had, and I couldn't play I played viola at the time. I was like, I couldn't play my viola. I was like, imagine if there was a solution other than, like, rubber bands and tape. And he was like, I don't understand what you're saying. So I went to the craft store and I got clay and I built a clay model. Then I went to Home Depot and I got some type of washer pipe and a key ring and glued it together. And I was like, look. And they were like, okay, well, now you have an idea. Figure out how to turn it into an actual product. And 7 months later, and my product is about to be in stores. We just launched and everything else.
That's awesome.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
do you want to tell them the website?
Oh yeah. The website is Sharps, SHARPS, and flats with an S, .store.
Awesome. Hey, Elaine. She said hi.
No, but that's awesome. I mean, you do other things too, because I remember when we were having a conversation, this is your big thing, but then, you had some other businesses that you were kind of doing as well, right? Like marketing, and there was something else I can't remember off the top of my head.
I just did Sustainable Fashion Week, and I do alterations and all that kind of stuff. Any way to turn something into a profit,
Yeah. I love it.
I love
Absolutely.
it. I love that. I love that. Absolutely. That's it's just like I was saying in the beginning, it's just like you've done way more than some people have done in their entire lives. And so where does that drive come from? Especially like somebody that, we always talk about on here, like you don't necessarily need, even though you went to college and stuff like that, you don't necessarily need that type, to get the 9-to-5 type of job, right? You can branch out and start your own business. So what's your motivation behind that?
I never want to work for anyone else. That is my biggest goal, as I want to work for myself. I feel like I'm very independent, and I don't really like being told what to do and being on other people's time. I like being able to wake up when I want, hey, I want to go do this today, and not really having to check the employer and be like, hey, am I allowed to take vacation time? So I think my biggest drive is that I want to be financially, I can do what I want, and at time I can do what I want with it. And I think that is my biggest motivator, is that I'm doing basically what I want when I want, and no one can tell me differently.
Oh yeah.
I'm popping up your website, so in case, I know Elaine wanted to check it out, so I just wanted to make sure that she could see it for your website. I'll keep it up there for a little bit.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's so cool. Just not a lot of, I even will say millennials, but I feel like not a lot of, and you might correct me if I'm wrong, but do you see a lot of people that in your age group doing the same type of stuff that you're doing, or are they just kind of just doing what everybody else does?
A lot of my friends are in school, or they went straight to work for someone else. I think I have one or two other friends that are trying to start businesses, but other than that, I feel like everyone just kind of went a different route, and I was like, nope, I'm definitely going my own way, and I'm growing what I can grow on my own.
Yeah. Yeah, and we talked about that when I had stopped by after the launch party. I stopped by your office where you're at right now, and which is super impressive, because at that age, I mean, I had started my business. I also wanted to have my own business, and I was in college, 20, 21 years old, about that age, and I felt the same way. But when I stopped by, she has a little space here in a shared building. And I think that's awesome that you found that where you're at. It's a great location too, but that we were talking also about other women, business owners, that you were really interested in connecting with other women that were, business owners and entrepreneurs. And her and I talked about that, and, we're going to start to get together. I have a couple friends that that I was telling them about you, and we want to obviously get together, because I think for me right now, my biggest thing is surrounding myself with other people who are doing the same and more, like, right, and better and more successful, and you're doing that more than your products are out there more than mine are, right? And I've been doing this for so long, just because of ups and downs. But I think just connecting with other like-minded business owners, but obviously, individuals, that's where I'm at right now. And it sounds like that's where you're at too, obviously.
Let me ask you this. So since you invented something, right? I always wonder what that process was like, because I think about things and you're like, oh, by the time I think about it, right, it's somebody's already invented it.
Yeah.
Like that, right? That's always right. You're like, oh man, I got an idea for an invention. And it's like, yeah, somebody already did that. But so what was that process like? Because you probably who did you use? How did that happen? Like patents and stuff like that? Because I'm sure there might be somebody watching that's, thinking about they're going to invent something, and it would probably be good for them to hear from somebody that maybe did it or did do it.
So when I started this, it was like right after I graduated high school. So obviously you're like, what, 18? You don't have a ton of money to like, okay, let me go hire all these attorneys. Let me go buy all this stuff. So I kind of did it on like a broke girl budget, which in the end paid off. So my friend's mom's an attorney, so I called him, and finding a patent attorney, that's like a specialty, and they're so hard to find. So all my attorneys are down in Maryland. So I called this guy up, and I was like, I'm on like a really tight budget. So I pretty much did all the paperwork myself, and he ended up filing it. So I had to go on the United States Patent website, and I had to Google every word that is possibly related to string instrument, injury, accessory, like every word. And I did it for 3 days straight, and I did it for 36 hours. I looked up every single word. And once that was done, I had to call him. And the closest ones you have to take, and you got to like file them with your invention and say like why yours is different and why it needs to be invented. And then you have to fill out like 6 other pages of paperwork, and then you have to send it to an attorney, and then they have to go through and edit everything, and then they have to file it.
Wow.
So it was definitely like a 3-week process. Since then, I have like 2 patent attorneys, 2 litigation attorneys, 2 paralegals, 2 insurance agents, 4 business coaches. Like I have a whole team now.
That's crazy.
And I started this back, and I think I looked at my first email the other day. It was December 18th is when I came up with that idea of 2020, and now we're in 2021.
That's crazy. I mean, I was gonna say, it sounded exhausting having to just go through for that, but I mean, a lot of us that are obviously starting out, who started out, or people now that are starting out. I mean, finances and money, and that working capital and all that is usually a main, if not the only problem. I mean, obviously, knowing where to find things and how to do it, but obviously it takes money, and like you said, the attorneys cost money, and there's definitely different things. I had filed for trademarks and little things that you can do yourself, but it's the certain ways of doing it, and then doing it the right way, because then it might not get approved, or you might have to redo it, or you might not get just not doing it the right way. You have to use attorneys, but it's good to hear, I think, for other people that are in that position, that you can at least do a lot of the work yourself, which it sounded, it obviously sounded like a lot, but it was worth it for you to, do it. So.
Yeah. You're spot on, Carley. It's incredibly hard to find somebody that does patent law. It's ridiculous. And just to go through that process, the way you did it, right, it's just the way you had to do it because of, money being an issue. But so has that patent been granted yet, or is it still like in a pending status?
It's in a pending status, but we're getting closer.
Nice.
But if worst comes to worst, hopefully it goes through. If not, there's other ones down the pipeline that my biggest goal is to get a patent in life. So I have enough out there that are coming out that hopefully at least one of them gets granted, but I'm pretty sure this one hopefully will get granted.
Well, it's funny too, because we last week on our podcast, we did our bucket list, because it was our 50th episode, and we were talking about 25 things each that we want to do, and one of mine was to invent something, and the invention. So I thought it was really cool that we were having you on. We knew we were having you on, already, or maybe like the idea of it, I actually had it on my bucket list. So I'm sure that there's so many people that have that, that want to say that they're an inventor and they have a patent. Even, you can, I'm sure, invent things but not have a patent, but obviously you want to, so that nobody else can do it. But I'm sure that there's so many people that have that on their bucket list. Did you always want to like you've always wanted to do that? Something you weren't sure maybe what?
It's always
very cool.
Invent something.
Do you think you want to invent something else? Do you think you're gonna have something else? A couple things, yeah.
That's pretty awesome. That was gonna be my next question, but to going back to the bucket list thing, I had mentioned that I wanted to throw the first pitch out a game, right?
Oh yeah.
And Carley happened to be listening, and she was like, "Hey, check your DMs."
And
it was like, so she get it, and that's the power of like business connections and stuff like that, and just people just caring about each other in that sense, and people actually listening to what your needs are. And Carley's going to give me the opportunity to do that. So that's really cool. So I'll get to mark something off my bucket list, just like you get to mark something off your bucket list. So, I thought that was really interesting. But going back to, because I know we talked about the patent, but what about so you invent the product, right? You go to the store, you get your stuff. It's like every store you hear on Shark Tank, like he says, like, I went to the store and bought like a bunch of random crap and made it, right? But like, what is it after that? So you've made the product, right? You've researched the patent. Like, what was the next step after that?
About 30 hours of crying. Just kidding.
Crying.
No. Right. So after I got the provisional patent granted, I remember I was sitting at a restaurant.
Timothy says, "Hey, Carley. What's up, Timothy?"
So I remember I was sitting at a restaurant. And
Brandy.
Like,
hey, Brandy.
I got this provisional patent, and I was with my friend. And she's like, "So what do you do now?" And I'm like, I guess I gotta figure out how to produce it actually. So I went to Penn State Launchbox, which they help like startup businesses. You don't have to be a Penn State student. My first cohort I was in, which is like a group of people, I was the youngest one, and I think one other person there went to Penn State, and the next youngest person was 29. So
oh wow.
you kind of just go through classes, and the class I did, it was called Idea Test Lab. So you come in with your idea and like what you think your business is going to be like or your product, and you have to do like 40 interviews with people who are in the field. You have to do X amount of hours of pitch decks. It's pretty much like a part-time job on the side of everything else you're doing. So that was a 6-week program, and I ended up getting first place in that one.
Oh, nice.
I went to another pitch contest, and I ended up getting second place in that one. And then I did a whole business plan boot camp, and we wrote out my whole business plan for the next 3 years. But it was a lot of stress and trying to figure things out, and a lot of like things I had to overcome. The hardest part was definitely trying to find a manufacturer. I had a couple companies that I've worked with that I thought were going to be good fits, ended up not being good fits. And then last minute, I did some Googling and I found a company, and then I posted in Central PA Small Businesses. And I ended up getting a company that does all my 3D printing, manufacturing, producing, graphic design, stuff. Like, they do everything for me. So now all I have to do is wake up and like sign off on an email, and it goes through.
Nice. So
definitely a lot of progress from them now.
Yeah.
That seems like definitely a lot of stuff going on, a lot. And I think it's interesting too, just because, not to just like harp on your age, right? Like, I don't think a lot of people, once they see the road ahead of them, would really, I think that's why not a lot of people invent things, because they're just like, oh, I got to jump through all these hoops. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to do this.
Sure.
Right. And then all of a sudden it's like that never gets realized. But like like I said, taking that opportunity is where you're at today. So that's really impressive.
Thank you.
So let's ask this, right? Because you're at the launch, right? Your product's launching here soon and stuff like that. So what's some of what was like your biggest struggle, and how did you overcome it?
So I told myself I wanted to launch my business like by August. So I was looking and I was like, oh, I don't want to do it on like a Friday. Like that's not gonna be good. I like doing events on Mondays. No one ever does anything on Mondays. You usually just
That's what you said about your product launch. You're like, I'm doing it on a Monday.
The party is gonna be on a Monday. It's August 2nd. It's close enough. So 2 weeks before, I finally put my order in for my products. So I didn't even have my products until 48 hours before my party. We all came to my office and we packaged them for about 10 hours straight. Then woke up the next morning and had to we built my website in basically a day. So then we built a website in a day. And honestly, the last 48 hours between planning a party that had almost 200 people there and everything else, the last 48 hours were crazy. Like at my party, I don't know if you guys saw me running around, but we were trying to edit the website the last 30 minutes before it got launched.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And then the next day I was like, I'm done. I'm taking a nice day off. I haven't had one off in like a year.
Yeah.
So it's like your family involved and stuff like that, or is it just solely you?
It's pretty much just me. Like my mom and dad, like they know, but like they've never like invented anything or started a business. So like I mean, I'll run ideas past them, but they're like, this isn't our field of things. So, but no, they just kind of do what they can to help. Like my party, they came and helped set up, but like business stuff, they help me package here and there, but that's about it.
Nice, yeah. So, but so that would obviously, like you said, that was your struggle, right? But let's talk about like something that like you're super proud about, like something that like maybe like some obviously we weren't part of the process, or people watching this weren't part of the process, but what's something like people wouldn't know that you were really proud about yourself in that process?
I think when I got the first one printed. So my little products are 3D printed. And I remember I was just sitting there and I was like, I don't know how I'm ever going to bring this to someone and be like, print this. And I need it to look like this. And like 3 months later, after I made the one out of metal, I was like, this is printed. Like I came up with this. And I went downstairs and was like, Mom, this is the thing that you guys were like, what are you talking about? This is what it looked like. And that was like the moment when I realized like, hey, I have something that you sold that I made.
Right, like actually seeing it done in person. That's really neat. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean that would have to be. I mean, I've never actually created something like you did, and to have that moment, like the first one, like you have the first one that was like printed, right? Like that's like I would like
clay one too. I have them all. It's like the evolution stage.
That's cool.
What? So, are you like happy with where the product is now? Do you see like down the road improving it or something like that, or is it just like you think it's good as it is right now?
This one only needs like one or two little things I want to change, but there's so many other ones that are going to solve other problems that I'm more like this one. It's solving a good amount of problems. Next problem.
That's awesome. What about feedback? Any like from people that actually use it and have you?
I have a decent amount of people using it. It's definitely people with arthritis and carpal tunnel because they can now wear their wrist brace when they play and they couldn't before. I have a couple like elementary school kids that are learning how to play instruments, so it's helping them at first learn how to hold it and their bow at the same time because it helps distribute the weight. And there's a couple rehab centers using it. I feel like so far, I mean, one or two people are like, yeah, it doesn't do that much for me, but I feel like there's more.
There's always going to be those.
Helping than not helping.
There's always going to be that one person that doesn't like it.
I thought it was like, there's always someone who's going to be like, whatever.
No matter what, no matter how everybody likes it or something like that, there's always the one bad apple in the bunch. Yeah.
And we just launched a program this week, and it's called Sponsor a Music Program. And a lot of people, like a lot of schools and things that don't have budgets for things like this, people can sponsor their music program, and then they get one of each device to help their classes.
Oh, that's nice. That's a good way to extra also get sales. I mean, obviously, is to put it out there. I mean, you're not just selling it to individuals. You're trying to bundle it and or go to hit, like almost like a different industry, almost kind of an industry, but that's pretty neat. You could do it for the whole kind of thinking outside of just the online store, you know, and selling one-ups, I guess. Cool.
Yeah. So what's the next step for you and your product? Like what's look down the pipeline? Like, what does that look like?
Roll out into more stores. Mm-hmm. And then from like a company, like this music company, like overall is I want like roughly 5 products out by the end of 2022. Because like creating a product is like something that takes like 2 days. It takes like, each one takes about 2 months. So if I can have 5 out by the end of 2022, that is the goal.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Holy, I like I said, I don't think I could do that personally. Thinking about, you know, products to make and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's pretty awesome to do. And so, but Mel, do you have any questions?
Yeah, no, I mean, I just think I'm very impressed, but also like, you know, not necessarily envious, because it's like not in a good way, of the determination and the motivation that you have, because there's a lot that I've gotten, I don't want to say like deterred or like frustrated with that's slowed me down a little bit. It sounds like you just have been running, you know, and I know that there's differences in age and, you know, other things that are going on in our lives, but I think that it's help hearing everything that you've done to get where you are right now is just helping me, like, just to focus, you know, and just to basically, I think, you know, I don't know if there's something that, you know, you do, I don't know if it's supposed to keep you motivated or keep you determined. Like if it's just the idea of, you know, just wanting it so bad, you know, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just think watching you it's definitely something that I would love to do better myself on, just, you know, really hustling and obviously just blocking out some of the other things that are going on. So I love that. And I think that, like I said earlier about surrounding yourself with people when you're watching other people and you have, you know, that mentor or somebody to, you know, to say, hey, you know, look how far you've come in just 8 months or, you know, 9 months. And that it can happen, that it's possible to have all these things get done if you really spend that time not distracted and, you know, procrastinating and all the, you know, all those things. So it's definitely something that I need to work on. But I actually wanted to bring up a little bit about, I was scrolling on your Facebook and I saw that you are a Girl Scout, because I'm a Girl Scout too. And I always, Billy's not a Girl Scout, sorry. But
I love Girl Scout cookies though.
I always look back at my mom was my Girl Scout troop leader and she was a trainer and trained the trainers. And like, I know that helped me to get involved with things, because I know, you know, obviously we, you know, when we watch our parents do stuff, but I think that being a Girl Scout had really helped me in a lot of ways, just, I think, personally, professionally, you know, mentally, whatever. But I saw that you had gotten your award. You did like the Outstanding Service Award, Girl Scout Gold. I know that the owner, Sarah Barr from Conhos, was texting around a while back and had said, randomly, she's like, were you a Girl Scout? Are you a Girl Scout? And I said, yeah, why? Like, you know, just kind of a random text. And she said, oh, I thought so. I'm doing a project. I haven't followed up with her, but she said, I'm trying to guess who of like other business owners that we know. There's like, you know, in you know, in the industry and all this stuff, that she said, I'm trying to guess who's a Girl Scout. And I've been right 5 times. She's like, you're my 5th or 6th person. And she's like trying to guess based on, I know it sounds bad, but like kind of judging like a little bit. But I think that there could be something to say about being a Girl Scout and somewhat, you know, the stuff that we did and learned. And I don't know. I'm not sure if you agree, but I'm gonna have to tell her that you're a Girl Scout too. So maybe whatever this whole thing is that she's doing secret, we'll be in on that. But yeah.
Melissa, I just realized I know your mom.
Oh, you do?
Because I know your brother.
Oh, Billy. Yeah, I was the same. Well, my brother's 19. And
yeah, I just put that together randomly like the other day.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, they have different last name. I have a different last name, but it's funny. That's awesome. I love that. I didn't know. Look at that. We're all family now.
All the different connections, right? It's funny how that works out.
Absolutely.
And I know, I wasn't personally a Girl Scout, right? But I played sports, and I know, Carley, we talked about that you played sports, and so that probably has a lot to deal with your competitive drive, right?
I don't like sports.
Nobody does, right? Nobody. Well, I mean, there's some people that never get in the ring, but I think sports play a lot of role in how you deal with adversity, and you've dealt with a lot of adversity, even in a short amount of time. But I think what's really impressive is that when you see somebody, we're all going to deal with that adversity, especially when you're starting something, and instead of just saying, hey, I'm just going to try to figure this out, you're just like, I'm going to run as fast as I possibly can and try to figure it out at the same time while juggling all this stuff, right?
Yeah, and not obviously give up when it sounded like I'm not saying that there were failures. I mean, we've all kept going. That's the idea is, yeah, I mean, but it's like you said, this didn't work, that didn't work. I mean, you could have easily given up. You could have easily said, screw this. This is way too hard, or this is this. I mean, it really sounds like you just continued over these hurdles, and it is inspiring. I mean, I really do. I mean, for me personally, but I hope that there's a lot of people that are watching that that can hear that those things that you had to go through to get there, and you just were pretty much, I don't care, I'm going, I'm going through it, and it's going to happen. You just basically said it's going to happen, and and did it.
So I think that's a good segue for the end, right? The end of the show. I think it's a good segue. I'm the timekeeper. If you didn't know that, Carley, I'm the guy that makes all the buttons and stuff go. We don't let Mel have control over the show.
He got mad when I could see his face when I was pushing the button. I was like, oh, Elaine, show this, all the comments, Timothy and Brandy. He was like, Derek. When we had Derek on, he's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with myself. I'm usually in control of the buttons.
Look, see, I'm going to push my own button. But anyways.
Exactly, Elaine.
But anyways, I think that was kind of a good segue to kind of, like I said, we kind of end the show usually with a piece of advice from Mel, but I want a specific piece of advice from you, is that if if somebody was watching this today and saying that I'm going to start my own business, or I'm going to invent my own product, right? Or something along those lines, what's one piece of advice you could give to them to, make their journey a little bit easier, I guess?
Don't tell anyone.
I like that.
I told a couple of my friends when I first started this about this idea I had. And if I would have took their advice, I would not be doing anything I am doing today.
Wow.
They were like, Carley, that idea, it's so stupid. It's so simple. Someone had to come up with it. Or, Carley, this is never going to sell. Carley, why would you do this? Why are you going to invest your time into stuff like that? So don't tell anyone. And then second off, especially if you're inventing something, someone will probably rip you off.
Yeah.
Don't tell anyone until you have proper protection.
Yeah.
Nice. No, I love that. I saw a quote today, and it said, your enemy, the enemy to your dreams is never a stranger. And it's like, if you think about it, it's just kind of what you just said. Those people that are close to you, or your friends, or your so-called friends, right, were the ones that were saying, don't do this, right? And you, thank God, didn't listen to them. So
yeah,
it could have went the other way. So, but yeah. So, anyways, Carley, since you're on the show today, we do, and you've watched us before, so you do know that at the end of the show we like to do the millennial meme of the week.
Millennial meme. We got to get that jingle. Carley, you got to help us with.
I know, Carley, you have this marketing side of your thing, right? We need to get we need to get to 10,000 followers, right?
We need help.
Where are you guys at?
We're going to keep track. We need to set goals.
Because the number's so low. The number's so low that we don't keep.
We don't look at it.
My goal is to get 200 a week.
Okay.
See, there we go. But so we do this at the end of the show where it's a millennial meme of the week, right? And it was my turn because Mel's was last. And so I found this one last minute, last second. That's how I do this thing. I don't look at memes all throughout the week. I look. And so I think this one speaks to all of us, but especially you, being an inventor and being an entrepreneur. Here it is. So is a guy or a kid with a glasses straw, and it's like the fluid goes through the glasses and stuff like that. And it said, I didn't choose the entrepreneurial life. The entrepreneurial life chose me.
I love that.
So I thought that was a good one for Carley in her, inventive self. So, but any thoughts on that one, Carley?
It reminds me of this thing I showed Mel when she was here the other day. Someone came to my party and they put out all these inventors and they put them in a collage and they put me in the middle, and it's like some random picture of me holding something, and I was like, yeah. So,
I loved it. I took a picture of it for her.
Yeah, it was definitely always coming up with stuff random to try and solve a problem.
Yeah,
that's
very
awesome.
Relatable.
I love it. No, yeah, that's awesome.
But the other moment in the show, right, that we like to have for those that are just tuning in, just watching us for the first time, we do have what's called a Mel's moment, where Mel gives us some piece of advice to walk into the weekend with. But since we have a special guest, I always give the special guest the opportunity. You already gave us a piece of advice for business, but it could be a piece of advice for anything. Life, how to deal with it, how to overcome things, whatever you want to leave for people so that when they're going into their weekend, they have a good start to their weekend. So, Carley, do you have a piece of advice you like to give the audience?
Okay, my favorite word is no, because it has like 500 meanings. Like, it can be a question, it can be a why, it's like a verb, like a verb and adjective. Like, no is my favorite word, and I'm not scared to use it. So you shouldn't be scared to use the word no either.
Man,
absolutely,
that is so powerful because
she's blown all of my Mel moments away this whole time.
Yes, Mel's been doing this for 51 episodes.
And hers was the best.
And that one was the best so far. So, Mel, at this point, do you want to give your Mel's moment, or do you want to or do you just want to leave it there? No, you could definitely leave with a piece of advice if you'd like to.
I love that. I've learned to say no, more recently. If I had learned at 19 years old, dang. But no, I think that, I had labeled this as far as like invent yourself. I think that obviously we're talking about inventions in, Carley, her product that she invented. But I also think that there's a lot behind, the idea of who we are and obviously like inventing ourselves. She's creating this path at 19 and making her mark in the world and products and obviously inspiring a lot of people. And I think that, hearing her story and just giving I think it just really gives inspiration to a lot of people that, to start somewhere and do it and really obviously, not give up, but that you're in the first stages. We talk about someone's chapter 1, don't compare it to someone's chapter 20. You could have been really discouraged by a lot of other products or things, seeing things, but you just started. Your product, like he said, there might be it might be a phase 3, a phase 4, like the iPhone 12, right? So at some point, it's just the idea of doing it And that's what a lot of people struggle with, is just getting it up. It's the same thing with my website. It was like, just get it up there. Who cares if it's shitty or what it looks like? It's just there. Like your cards, maybe that's going to look different in 3 weeks and 6 months and again in another year, but you just did it. And it's really inspiring. Just getting it going. I think we should all just, get out there and start somewhere.
And then Elaine says,
Elaine.
Great segment today. I had zero distraction.
It's great.
So that's what you want on a Friday, is zero distractions. But anyways, Carley, like I said, I really appreciate you taking some time. I remember when I messaged to you and you're like, hey, I already spoke with Mel. I'm going to be on the podcast. So I was like,
I know. Great. I said, yeah, we're in.
I was like, awesome.
I think I talked to her for like 5 seconds. She's like, do you want to be on the podcast? Like,
yeah.
Sure.
And that was the first thing when we popped on that Zoom, was like the first thing you said was just like, yeah, I guess I'm going to be on this podcast. It was just funny. And so, but I mean, thank you for, like I said, just taking a little bit. I know me and Mel know that how busy you are and stuff like that. And so we just appreciate you and taking time out of your day to come chat with us.
Yeah. And we can't wait to see what's next.
Yeah.
I'm ready to watch Billy try and throw a first pitch.
Yes.
Listen, there's 2 ways this is going to go.
I can't wait.
There's never, no one makes like, it's either like, I'm going to throw this pitch into like the 10th row, or like, I'm going to like throw it straight down the center, or like back. Like,
it's not even going to make it.
Yeah.
Have
like
you thrown a baseball recently?
Not in
practice.
years.
You better practice.
My next door neighbor, I went to him. He's a baseball coach. And I said, listen, do you have any baseballs? Like, I'm throwing the first pitch out. Like, I need help. And he's like, I got you. So I'm actually going over there later tonight, and he's going to throw the baseball around. So,
do we have a date set?
No, I
to
said
tell everybody. Okay.
Last week of August, first week of September.
Okay.
For me, either of those weeks work fine.
We'll announce it for sure. Yeah. We'll tell everybody. I will be in Cartagena, Colombia over Labor Day weekend, guys.
Well, I'll be throwing the first pitch out at a game. So
I'll be at 5.
Yeah. So, but anyways, guys, we appreciate everybody that jumped on today, that commented, that hung out with us. If you guys need what Carley does, I'm popping up the website again. So write it down, right? Write it down. Go check it out. Go support a local business.
Her Instagram.
Yeah, go check out her Instagram. We'll pop that up in the comments as well. But go check her stuff out. It's amazing. You never know if you might know somebody that needs that stuff. So go check it out. Right, like I said, write it down and get to that website. So, but anyways, guys, we will be coming back to you live again Friday. Another episode of Millennial at 2:00. So make sure you put
Fridays at 2.
Yes, Fridays at 2. We've changed the time, guys. So now that my day is over, I'm gonna go have a beer. So
okay.
So
Carley, not yet.
Not yet.
Alcoholist wine someone brought.
Alcoholist wine. Oh.
She can drink an old Jules.
Yes, she can have old Jules. And Carley also has an alteration. She does that. She's gonna come over next week, and maybe we'll do like a little live while she's here.
There you go. See, making things happen. But anyways, guys, have a good weekend. We'll talk to you real soon. Have a good one.
Bye.